tried to break us, but we built a family without him. 9 months ago, I stopped asking why we didn't eat together anymore. The last time I tried, he looked at her growing stomach and back at me and said, easier this way. I didn't know what he meant, but I felt it, that distance, that cold air that settled into the walls and never left. This morning, I watched him cry in a courtroom while a judge took away his parental rights. But it didn't start in a courtroom. It started the day she found out she was pregnant. Back then, they were inseparable, annoyingly so, always teasing each other, holding hands in the kitchen, sharing secret smiles across the table. I used to roll my eyes at how in love they seemed. But the moment her belly began to show, everything shifted. At first, it was small things. He moved to a separate recliner in the living room. He stopped touching her at all, even when she reached for his hand. If her shirt rode up and showed stretch marks, he'd wrinkle his nose like he was about to gag. At the grocery store, he'd walk ahead, never waiting, letting her carry heavy bags alone. Then came the rules, baggy clothes only, no mention of the baby in public, no calling him dad around his friends. He started calling her she or it instead of her name. When people congratulated him, he'd glare at her like she'd ruined him. And when she needed help putting on her shoes one morning, he just watched her struggle, disgust etched on his face. It got worse. He took her off the bank account, the phone plan, even the streaming account. He threw away her mail, doctor appointments, cards from her sister, everything. One night, she choked on water at dinner, coughing violently. He didn't move. I had to use the Heimlich maneuver we'd just learned at school. Another time, she collapsed in a store aisle. He stepped over her. I ran to get help and called an ambulance myself. My birthday came a few weeks later. She decorated overnight, made pancakes despite barely sleeping. He walked into the kitchen and told her flatly, "You need to leave. Either you go or I take him somewhere else. I can't be around you." I clung to her leg, sobbing, "I want to go with you." But he pulled me back. She hugged me tight, belly pressing into me and whispered, "Stay and enjoy your party, sweetheart." You were so excited. I watched her drive away alone through the window. Later that night, I went to sneak her favorite cookies into her nightstand. Instead, I found a folded paper. Paternity test results. Probability of paternity, 0%. My hands shook. I stuffed it back quickly, but that was the moment I understood why he had turned into someone I didn't recognize. From there, his cruelty became calculated. He transferred me to a school 40 minutes away without warning. He locked our bedroom doors from the outside, carrying the only keys on his chain. He replaced her vitamins with empty bottles. When she started having contractions early, he called her dramatic. I called 911 at the hospital. Whispers followed her down the hallway. Malnutrition, dehydration, stress. Friends tried to visit. He threw them out. When one of them secretly recorded him screaming at her, I hid the file on my school tablet. Back home, he made her sign papers at the kitchen table. She asked if it gave him custody of me if they separated. He said, "Just sign it." Her hand trembled. I started smuggling her food, hiding vitamins in my backpack, writing little notes that said, "For you and the baby." Then one weekend, he said we were going on a camping trip, just the two of us. Before we left, she slipped a folded note into my pocket. I read it that night under a flashlight. "Be brave. The baby isn't his. I love you like my own child." The next day, he asked how I'd feel living with only him. Said she wouldn't want me anymore after the baby came. I played along, but my heart was racing. When he showered, I sent a message from his phone to a neighbor. "She needs help. Check on her." We came home to find her on the bathroom floor in labor. He stepped over her. I called 911 again. At the hospital, she begged for me to stay. He wouldn't even enter the delivery room, so the nurses let me hold her hand. Hours later, a baby girl was born. Dark curls, deep skin, tiny hands. She asked if I wanted to hold her first. I nodded.
"You're her brother now," she whispered.
"Always protect her." When he refused to sign the birth certificate, Child Services stepped in. I gave them everything. The photos, the recordings, the messages he deleted, the locks on the doors. They took me to an emergency foster home. The next time I saw her, she was pale but determined. "I'm going to fight for you," she said. "For both of you." What followed was months of court battles. He hired lawyers, his parents joined in, and they tried every angle, claiming she was unfit, accusing her of coaching me to lie, digging up my absent birth mother to file for custody. But the truth kept piling up against them. Medical records of her bruises, photos of vitamins in the trash, audio of his threats. When my birth mother's history came out, arrests, neglect, abandonment, that case collapsed too. The day I testified, my hands shook, but my voice didn't. I told the court how he ignored her when she couldn't breathe, how he locked her in rooms, how I had to call for help every time. He was convicted of domestic abuse and violating restraining orders, sentenced to prison, but his parents weren't done. They filed again and again and again. Every time she had to scrape together money for court fees. Her mom sold her house to help. I started making her breakfast, doing the laundry, making sure she ate. When the judge finally told his parents, "You failed to protect him," and ordered them to pay our legal fees, it felt like we could breathe for the first time in years. Then came the hearing to terminate his parental rights. He appeared from prison on a video call, pretending to cry. "I've changed," he said. "I love my son." The judge asked if anyone wanted to speak. I stood up. "He never loved me," I said. "He used me to hurt her. She's my mom. She chose me." A week later, it was over. His rights, gone. She collapsed in the courthouse hallway, sobbing into my shoulder. The baby clapped like she understood. That day, we filled out the adoption papers. I chose my new name, one piece from each person who loved me and fought for me. Adoption day was the first time I saw her smile without fear. The judge asked if I wanted her to be my mom forever. "Yes," I said before she even finished the question. We celebrated with pizza, cake, and laughter. She framed my school essay about family. The one where I wrote that DNA doesn't make someone a parent. Love does. Months later, when a letter from him arrived, she didn't open it. "He has no power here anymore," she said. "Let's plant something instead." We spent the afternoon planting tomatoes and sunflowers behind our apartment, a garden for peace. The baby took her first steps right into my arms that summer. She called me by the nickname her tiny voice could manage. Her first word, that night as I rocked her to sleep, my mom, because that's who she was now, stood in the doorway and whispered, "My babies," and I knew she meant both of us.